goal isn't to live forever. The goal is to create something that will.
Welcome to Perspective, a podcast for wedding creatives, where we sit down often with a special guest and talk about our many years of experience in the wedding industry so you can learn from us and grow your wedding business. And who are we? Well, I'm Simon, and this is The Final Frontier. Together, we are Cinemate Films, two Scottish-based wedding filmmakers who love nothing more than talking shop and drinking coffee. I said that the wrong way around, with others in the industry. And we've teamed up with Photography Farm to bring you 6 special episodes in anticipation of London Thrive, the all-star wedding photography workshop taught by 6 phenomenal mentors. This episode is, of course, sponsored by With Jack, but I will get onto that later in the show. Greg, who are we talking to this evening?
I forgot to check the pronunciation of your name, but I think it's Rocio Vega?
Rocio.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for spending your evening with us. It should hopefully be a pleasure.
Let's hope so.
Obviously, we spoke to you before we hit record about your fan that's running. Do you have yourself a drink to keep yourself hydrated?
Yeah.
Okay, good stuff.
Good.
So, for those of our listeners out there who maybe haven't heard of who you are and what you do, can you explain a little bit more to them about yourself?
Okay, so, in a nutshell, I'm Colombian. I live in Spain for already 25 years. I've been a wedding photographer for 25 years as well. And I love moments. This is what drives me the most, to find and capture the highest peak of emotion. I'm drawn to emotions, basically. And I love what I do. And I have been in this industry long enough to see different tendencies and to evolve in different ways. And, we're always evolving. And one of the things that I like the most is to capture in a documentary approach. But I also been working with flash of camera. And this is what I'm going to talk about in Thrive, because I had at least that fear that if I had a documentary approach, I was not going to use the flash. Mm-hmm. And hopefully at some point in my career, I realized that was not it. And then I use it with a documentary approach, not only creative approach. Mm-hmm. Well, if you see here something black moving, my little baby, and so if you see something, it's like, what does she have there? It's my dog.
I could see that, yeah.
Oh man, we were recording earlier today with Matt Kay, another Thrive speaker, and he too had his dog running around and stuff. So I feel it's quite a dog heavy day today.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if he's just besides me, he would behave better.
Yeah, that's okay if he doesn't behave.
Yeah. So you've been in the wedding industry for quite a long time now, but am I right in saying you got started in like cinematography and architectural photography? Is that right?
No. Well, I came to Spain to study cinematography. So I learned the basics of lighting and approach to light, thanks to cinematography. And I think that makes a huge difference because this is the way I see light. Mm-hmm. And afterwards, I started with photography and I dived into weddings. I started really at the weddings. It was just a survival mode kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But then you start working, you know what you don't want because you're working for someone else that has a list and that you have to do like really awful stuff. And I started with video and then move on to pictures and then move on to have my own business and do whatever was it that I liked at that moment.
Okay. What was it? So you started weddings with video?
Yeah. Yeah, the
Oh.
first year was video, and it was like not like right now. We had like the huge camera, here, and then you had the big battery on this other side. It was awful.
Oh yeah. So what made you move away from video, or was it just the smaller kit?
No, it was just I was a photographer, but then they were looking for videographers at first, and then when you work there for one year, they said, okay, now we think you're ready to be a photographer, because photographer was, you needed to have more skills and you needed to have more, I guess. They get to know you better so that you know what's the drill, because they were really specific with the things that you had to do, like super classic things. This is 25 years ago. So I mean, it is a lot.
Yeah. Was your inspiration for film, did it come from like cinema, like actual films that you see, or?
Yes, right now, cinema and series, it's a big inspiration for me.
Oh, yeah.
Because I guess since I studied cinema, I remember one teacher telling us, I am so sorry, I am going to ruin the way you look at films from now on. Mm-hmm. And he was right. So now every time I watch something, you are listening, you are looking at the composition, you're looking at the light. And I like to look at things that are beautiful and that are challenging. And sometimes I when I'm watching a series, I'm thinking, oh my God, so what do I like? I love this scene. What is it about the light of this scene that makes me feel this way, And then I start imagining, oh, if I had to do this, where would I put my flashes? Mm-hmm. And so that's the way kind of I think. And sometimes I see things and I'm like, okay, I can't wait to try this lighting.
Yeah.
On a wedding. And then I try it. And normally I start trying at the party, because at the party, it's a safe place. So that party, it's my playground with flashes. Yeah.
Oh, that's so interesting that you say that, like, because the technology between like a constant light and a flash is actually very different, and how you use the lights are very different. So it's interesting to see, or interesting to hear, that you can take one style of lighting and try and replicate it in a flash. How easy was that for you? And do you still experiment from time to time?
Yes. So there's several questions in your question.
I know. I'm sorry. I am really bad for that. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. So I started using off-camera flash back in 2012, I think. Mm-hmm. It was when they released like the trigger and the flash, and then back then it was just a naked flash, and I had that problem that you are talking about. But nowadays, with all the modifiers, and I use Mac Mod, okay, and you can modify light. So I don't like to use a naked flash. And actually, like in the last couple of years, I switched to the round head flash. And that is a complete different game changer, because it has nothing compared of the flashlight. It's a different light. It's a light that by itself, it's already beautiful. Mm-hmm. So, and when you modify it, you can do whatever you want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So talk to us about flash then, because you are speaking to two video people here. Yeah. Flash.
I'm a videographer too.
We don't understand it. In fact, if I was to use a flash, I'd be scared. I'd be like, I don't know what this is going to look like in camera because I can't see it. Like I'm good with constant lights because I can move them and see how it affects things, and I know how they work and how to modify them. But a flash,
they're more obvious.
Yeah. Yes, but a flash, I feel like it's almost like a magical creation that photographers just bring out, and I'm like, I don't know what this is. And I know other photographers, when they say we're natural light photographers, they too are scared of flash. I'm pretty sure.
Think so.
So talk to me all about flash. Tell me everything.
So how I try to teach a Flash in a way like Flash for dummies, you know?
Great.
I try to,
Two dummies here. Two dummies.
but it's not about like you're dummies. No, it's like, let's try to make it as simple as possible, because we can get lost in inverse square law and half of the square and that is awful. If you look at things like that, obviously you get scared. But when you understand the basic concept and the way light behaves, and you understand that the distance obviously has an impact, but it's not a linear impact. But what you need to understand is what's the optimal distance you're going to use your flash, and how your flash is going to behave in that distance. And then what I do is I always know that I'm going to work with my flash minimum between 4 to 6 meters away, because it changes completely the way that light behaves. But this is because I use flash as a complementary light to enhance natural light. So it all depends on the situation, but you just need to learn the basics and know by heart. Like when you're driving, you know, it goes first, it goes second. And it's so, for me, flashes are so easy. I feel like a kind of, the superhero, you know, like I have the flash and I do and I just put them around, and I know, because I know all my equipment very, very well. I know my modifiers. I know what type of modifier I need depending on the situation. Sorry, my dog is like, hello. So it's just, I think it's a question of knowing your equipment and trying many, many, many things many times so that you get comfortable with it. Because at some point, flash has to be an extension, like same as the camera is an extension of your body. It's exactly the same for the light. I was tired of not being able to capture real beautiful moments because the available light was not good. And I was tired of the idea of thinking, oh, I'm a documentary photographer, so I don't use flash because I'm a natural light photographer. Yes, when natural light is good, it's amazing, but that's not the case in every wedding and through all the day. And I had this situation where I had an outside wedding, and she was dark skin, tan, and the guy was super white, but she was in the sun, just the sun was into her, and into him there was the shadow, and it was awful. And of course our cameras are so good right now, and that you have a really big how you call it,
dynamic range,
exactly. But you cannot rely always on the dynamic range, and it's not professional, and it's not good. What that doesn't separates you from Uncle Bob. You know?
Oh, Uncle Bob. I love Uncle Bob.
So when you put a flash and you know how to use it, you can compensate that, and you can make your photography better, and then you can capture better moments, and you don't have to worry and pray to photo God, please, please, please give the kiss in the ray of light. No, I don't want to be doing that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that would be quite refreshing for some people to hear, because, as you say, I think a lot of people are scared of flash because they think, oh, I don't understand the mathematics and technicalities behind it. But trial and error and play and get to know how it works for you in certain situations, it should hopefully give people some confidence to just play about.
I'm going to share like some really easy techniques. So concepts that will like, I can see it in my students' faces. Like they're like, oh, wow. Okay. So this is like that. This works like this. Yeah. And I call it's the KISS Flash workshop. KISS, it's keep it simple, stupid.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Nice.
Yeah. Cause that's the idea. I don't want to, when we speak or when we do photography, we're not thinking about all the physics and the image, and you don't think about those things. You need to feel. Yeah. So you need to the technique to be easy and that you have learned it. And I always say that the best moment to try things, it's party, because you cannot just go put a flash and try on an important moment. No, it has to be transitional. You can try at the party, because if you miss something, don't do it in the first dance, of course. But if you miss something in the party, it doesn't matter. Nobody's going to remember it, and you're not going to ruin anybody's memories. And then once you know the drill, you know what you're doing, then you can start trying it little by little during the day.
Yeah.
So if we have a photographer listening, right, who describes themselves as just natural light because they have that fear, but they are wanting to confront their fears, I suppose, and start learning, what equipment should they go and buy? Like, for flash, sorry.
Like basic would be minimum 1 or 2 flashes, round heads. Don't buy a normal flash, because round heads are way much better. And I use Godox, but there's many brands out, and it's not the best brand. There's not a perfect brand, but it's a good, reliable, good price, good quality kind of balance. And I use, I hate the V1. Okay. So nobody buy the V1 Godox, because it's not good, but the 8100, it's like a Coca-Cola can. It's an amazing little flash. And then I use the 8200, and because it's more powerful, and I go along with that.
Yeah.
Okay. Just having a look. I mean, there's just so many flashes on there. Like, there's just a ridiculous amount of. I wouldn't even know where to look very quickly here. But definitely worth.
And if you do go and buy a flash, go to Thrive as well.
Absolutely. So, well, let's.
Sorry, yeah, I'm back.
That's fine. Is there if someone were to start playing, what would be some easy settings that you would just say, try this out and see how you get on?
Okay, so first thing we have to try is to learn about the direction of the light and what is your taste. What is it that you want to tell, and how you're going to use that light. So the first thing I teach is like, okay, you just put someone in the middle, and then just put the flash and do like clockwise different pictures and see how that behaves. And because we have different tastes, and there's no right or wrong, it's just like you have to be able to find what is your favorite light and what is it that you like. And then you have to learn how to recreate that light that you like with your flash. So that would be the first thing to do. And then try some modifiers, but start with the round head. With the round head, we're good. And then after, we can just like build up little by little,
Yeah.
All right, cool.
I'm sure we're going to talk more about flash as this conversation goes on, because obviously that's the Thrive topic. But let's talk about your photography more in general, like, because I love this concept of momenticos. So can you explain that a bit more for our listeners?
So momenticos it's actually a way in Colombian Spanish to say like in short time, Okay. Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
Your dog is so happy.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. Wait, just give me 1 second.
Ladies and gentlemen, she's back. Oh no, she's not.
Yes, she's so sorry, because
he
feels like, you're talking to someone, so we have time to play. Yeah, this is it. So the thing is, momenticos, it's a word, and a Spanish word, but in Colombia that we use that refers to small partial time. And then one night I was dreaming, and I was thinking about my branding, and I had this, I dreamed about it because at the school I was studying, the director of the school, she was American, She knew Spanish, but Americans never really learned fully how to speak in Spanish. And I remember her, she was screaming like, "Momentico, girls, momentico." And it came to my head. I was like, oh my God, that's such a beautiful word. And actually, when you look at a moment takes a space of time. And it's like, in average, it can be like 20 seconds, and it evolves. It has it's so beautiful because it's like a wave. So somebody hugs and they hug and then they look to each other and then they laugh and they hug again. And then maybe they look again and then the tear comes. So I like this concept that you have to be really patient and you have to let the moment evolve in front of you, kind of like when you do with video. Because photographers were just like, bam, 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 and you can move around, but actually you shouldn't. Like, videography has taught me that. I'm also a videographer, that you have to be patient, you have to stay still, and you just have to let the moment evolve. But then with photography, what you can do is like, you can choose which was the highest expression of that moment. Because you can say in just one image, you can tell the whole story and capture the whole emotion. So that's what drives me.
Yeah. I love that. You mentioned your branding. What was your thought to your branding after having a realization of that kind of beautiful kind of concept? And how did you put that into your branding?
So, well, actually, I'm about to change the branding. I'm going to keep Momenticos as a concept, but I'm going to go back just to Rocio Vega because I'm doing more things now. But so Momenticos, I know it is a bit hard for English because they're like, oh, what is it? It's a moment. And so, but it's a unique word and it really describes what I do in my work. This is I think that's the language I try to use. This is what I try to capture. I don't know if I answered your question correctly.
It was more how that affected your branding.
Okay. Yeah. So as I said, actually right now I am working on my new website and I'm working rebranding again because it has been 8 years already with Momenticos. It has been good, but as I have evolved and I'm starting to do more things besides weddings, I want to be to approach a wider audience.
Okay.
And Momenticos sounds like really more not cheesy, but more wedding type of thing. And now I'm not only shooting weddings, I also shoot corporate events and traveling, which is amazing. And actually what I do in those travels, it's to capture moments. I do exactly the same work that I do for weddings, but in the corporate world, Momenticos sounds, I thought that now that's why I'm going back to Rocio Vega, just like, it's cool. It's me, it's my heart, and Momenticos would be more for the weddings.
Yeah. Okay. So, talking about your wedding work then, since obviously we're talking for Thrive, when you take an image, how are you, like, do you have it in your mind to capture the essence of a whole wedding in one image, or are you trying to be a little bit more concentrated in the littler moments?
Okay, so how do I approach a wedding? So for me, there's a whole story to tell. And the story goes beyond of the obvious thing that is happening, that they're signing and they're putting a ring and all these things. Yeah. Because actually for me, a wedding, it's a gathering, it's a gathering and it's about relationships. And the people that are at the wedding are the people that are important for this couple in this moment of their lives. And the way I see the world is that we nowadays, even more and more, we live in a fast world, and we are kind of more disconnected than ever. We're like connected more than ever, but actually not. We are more disconnected than ever. And there's a lot of social walls also culturally. It depends also which culture are you shooting for.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of things that are unsaid. And one of my abilities is that I am a really empathetic person.
Mm-hmm.
So if I am 100% in the place, and if I'm feeling the people around me, I can cry for someone that cannot cry, that don't allow themselves to cry. And I laugh, or I feel really deeply the things that are happening around me. And I observe a lot, and I observe people's hands. People's hands are like, they tell you something is going to happen. They're getting nervous. They're getting there. And one of my missions is to be able to capture that little thing that happens that in normal days nobody sees. And at a wedding, the good thing about it is that socially also people are more open to show their emotions.
Yeah.
So there's the typical dad or the brother that day will tell you, I'm so proud of you. Or this is how I feel. And they see you every single day, but they never tell you these things because we are ashamed of talking maybe about the emotions. It's not my case. I'm a person that speaks a lot about emotions, but that's not the normal world. So my mission, that how I feel my work, is to capture that so that the people that are going to see these pictures are going to be like, oh, wow, I've never seen my dad crying. I have never seen this face. I don't have an image. Now I have an image of how proud my dad is about me, you know? Mm-hmm. So that's my mission. So yes, I'm telling the story. I'm telling the whole story, and there's a different approach, and I want to take details, and because where the things are happening, it has also an impact on what is happening. It's not the same to get married in the backyard or in wherever you get married. It has an impact with it. So I just divide the wedding in different parts. Mm-hmm. And I know, like, generally speaking, what type of images I'm looking for. The type would be like, I want to have a detail. I want to have an overall image. I want to have a creative image also. I want a variety of ingredients. Mm-hmm. And I know in the different parts of the wedding when it's more likely that I can take out a creative image. I will do it more in the getting ready or more in the party. It doesn't mean that if in the way I see a creative image, I'm going to take it. But I'm not going to try to invent a wheel or do something really weird during the ceremony, because in that moment, I'm going to be fully focusing on the emotions and being present to see these little nuances, these little things, who is really getting emotional, who's gonna cry. I'm gonna be more focusing on that. So when you organize, or it's the way I organize the wedding in chapters. Mm-hmm. It's easier for me to concentrate, to search more one thing or another. And every wedding is different, but the structure, it's basically the same. So you more or less know what to expect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How's your mission and sort of approach to a wedding changed over the years? Because obviously, being in the wedding industry for 20 years, the industry of wedding photography has changed a lot in that time. So how's your approach changed?
Well, it has had a lot of different changes. At the beginning, as I said, I started working for someone else. So it was just a list. Yeah. And it was just like cheesy list and looking there and there, and, you know, and then I was like, I had no idea what I was going to do. So I just started doing the total opposite of what I had learned. And then little by little, I started noticing some images that were more important for me. And I realized that the moments were the thing that was important about the wedding, and that it was not about the rings, or it was not about the white dress, though I take those pictures. But what is important is who is there and how they dance into each other's, like how the relationships are, and the quality of these relationships and the emotions of these relationships. And then at some point I was like so focused on like, I'm a documentary photographer. So I don't touch anything. I don't put the lights. It's okay. It's perfect. But then you evolve from that. And then I realized that I was missing part of the story. And I realized that when I was reading a novel, I like to, in summertime, I always read like historical novels. I love to read historical novels. And then I was reading, and this author was describing the scene. So he was describing the little lamp and how the light was coming through the window. There was this frame, and, and when you're reading, and then you're like, oh my God, I'm able to feel the ambience of this room thanks to this description. And it hit me so hard, like, oh my God, I've been focusing only moments and I have forgotten totally, because I don't take details. And then I realized like, wow, I was missing part of the story. If I'm a purely documentary, I need to take pictures of the ambience, of the details, or maybe just the glass that is there, or the general view, and because everything has an interaction with what is happening. So yes, it has evolved, and it's evolving more in that way. And even since I became a videographer as well, now I also capture audio because it gives like a different depth. So I will capture audio during the ceremony, especially like vows or speeches, and then I listen to all this audio. I have a big respect for videographers. It's like, it's so much work, and the audio, it's like the hardest thing. So I always have like 2 or 3 different microphones and recorders and everything, because you never know what happens. You guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And then it's so beautiful, because one of the first things you forget about someone is the sound of their voice. And it's so powerful. Like, just speaking about it, I get shivering, because the sound of the voice, it's so powerful. And then I listen to all the speeches, and then I just try to focus on the main point, on the beautiful, just one sentence. And I use those in my slideshow, and it brings a different level for sure, because it captures better the emotions. That's all about what it is about.
I love that.
Yeah.
I remember we had a bride years ago now whose husband died. And I remember talking to her about it, and she said the one thing that she loved about having a wedding video, and she was one of the first brides who bought all the raw video clips, was that she'd watch all the clips that didn't make it into the film just to listen to the audio that was attached to every single one, and to hear the voice, even something as silly as like his laugh, like in the background. I remember her being very emotional about that.
You make me shiver, because it's true.
Yeah.
It's all those little moments that you kind of almost forget about, especially earlier on. Maybe you don't even realize that all these little moments have a huge impact. And maybe not now, but 10 years down the line, 20 years down the line, woofed.
And from that deep and meaningful anecdote, a kind of boring question, but what you mentioned your audio recorders. What else is in your kit bag other than the flash and the audio recorders? What are you shooting on?
Nice to dry up the emotions, Greg.
Wait. So you're asking for
what's in your camera bag? Like, what are you shooting on?
Oh, what's in my camera bag? Okay. So for sure, there's an 8100 Godox and the 80-100 Godox. And then there's the go-to microphones,
Go to. Oh yeah, okay.
Yes, go-to. And then I have a little recorder, a Sony recorder, like it's just like a finger kind of thing.
Yep.
And then I will have also my H5 that I will plug to the DJ's table. Then I would have my 2 cameras, X-T5, X-T4, Fuji, plenty of cards and lenses. I have a 24, an 85, 100 macro, and maybe the 50, maybe, and the 70-100 for sure. 70-100. And the batteries, lots of batteries. And then I would have like a little funny, how do you call it? Funny bag with me. So I can have one lens, batteries, a card, just like the minimums for me. And monopod, probably, and clamps everywhere. Clamps, because clamps I can put them. Yes, clamps are really important. Yeah.
What would you do with the clamps?
So I can put a recorder on a clamp. I can put a flash on the clamp. I can clamp anywhere in a lamp, my flash. So I don't have to bother with a tripod. I do use tripods as well, but depends on where's the wedding and how loaded I can be. But I try to be as light as possible, and still it's like it is a lot of equipment. But clamps are really nice because they're really small and you can use them anywhere. And I have tried so many clamps you cannot imagine. And finally, a couple of years ago, I found the ones. They're super small. They're heavy, but they're sturdy and they're really good. So it's a clamp with a round head, so I can do whatever I want,
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, that's actually one thing I've never heard any photographer say. I have clamps in my bag.
Oh, yeah. And Velcro, yes, also.
Yeah. Velcro, okay. Do you have any other toys like prisms or light whips or bits of glass or...
So, yes, I used to have those a lot in my photo bag. And I actually still have like maybe one prism or something. I would use those more if I'm going to do a photo session. But one day, many years ago, I found myself in the ceremony in a church with a prism and with the lights. I had some little lights and it hit me in that moment, like, what the hell am I doing? Like this is not it. I'm trying to create like a wow picture, but that's not the point. Like this is not my mission. This is not what I have to do. That if in the place they have some candles and if they have little lights, then yes, of course I'm going to use them. I'm going to use, of course, the mirror or the edge of the mirror or trying to do things to look for creative images. But my mission is to tell the story as beautiful as possible, but not to carry a lot of things. If I'm going to do a love session, an engagement session, of course, I'm going to add those things because that's romantic and that's magic. And we want to transmit that of their love. But on the wedding day, it's a real moment. And I'm not going to lose my time because afterwards you're just so focusing on that you miss the real thing.
Yeah. I agree with you 100% because I think people have heard me say that I love a prism and it is my favorite toy to play with. And that is true. But I wouldn't use it in any other situation other than a moment where I have time to, like, oh, there's a table decoration. Let's see what I can do here. Or like, I would never pick the prism during the first kiss or an important moment with the dad or something like that. That not the time for for that. But
That's why I say like the playground would be the getting ready. Getting ready.
Yep.
It's like she's getting makeup. Okay, so this is the moment where I can play around and I can take the prism, or I can take, oh, there's a lamp and this has this, and okay, I can play with it because I can allow myself the time to squeeze my creativity and put flash with colors and do something crazy. But there's moments for everything.
Yeah. Okay. So you mentioned a wedding in chapters.
Yeah.
Can you give us a very quick rundown on what those chapters are,
Yeah.
and then how you approach each one of those chapters for the type of images that you want to capture?
Okay, yeah. So it would be like getting ready. I always arrive earlier so that I can document it and I can play around, as I already said. Then would be the transportation to the ceremony. I think this is a really key moment, and I always reserve my seat if they're driving a car.
Yeah.
I would be the co-pilot because I want to capture the moment between the dad and the bride. This is one of my favorite moments because it's a really intimate moment, and it's a hard moment for the dad. It's really, if you put yourself in his position, like, oh my God, it's like he's driving his daughter to give her to get out of the house and to have a husband and go out of the house, of the family. And it's a really strong moment. Then would be just before the ceremony. So in this moment, this is the moment where I am searching for my joker. So the joker
Oh, interesting.
is it's really interesting because this is the guest that every wedding has. Everyone has a friend like that. And if you close your eyes and you think about your friends, you're going to know who he is or who she is. This is a person that talks to everybody, that makes moments happen around them. Like they're making everybody laugh. And so I try to analyze the people, and I find my jokers, because if nothing is happening, then I look for them, because everything is going to be happening around them. And then the idea, it's not just to take the picture of them, it's to take the picture of the reaction of people around them.
Yeah.
So that you don't get to have 30% of the pictures are the joker. No, it's what he's or she's doing around them, so that would be that moment just before the ceremony. Then obviously ceremony, then one of the main parts for me, one of the most important things, it's the hugs. Hugs are so difficult to photograph. It takes years of training, and it depends on the culture, because in some places people give 2 kisses or 3 kisses. In Spain, we start like this. In France, they start like this. So I always try to be on the side of the ending of the kiss, and then you have to shoot the whole moment through and tell the whole story. So hugs are really important. Then would be like the formals, kind of like the groups shots. I believe they're really, really important, because this is the only way that you can document everybody that was there, and that you can see everybody who was dressing. And culturally, these are the pictures that when you think about a wedding, like long time ago of your grandparents, this is the only pictures that you get to see. So you also have those. I think they are important. And then would be like the cocktail time. Cocktail time would be more my 70 to 100, like from far, sometimes from close. But let people enjoy themselves and can be kind of creative, and moments and laughter and connection and all these things. Also, it's the moment where I take some time to go and check the next step. Because one of the things that I believe that it's really important is to be prepared. Obviously, you never know what is going to happen, but the better you are prepared, the better you're going to shoot. So during the cocktail, at least in a lot of weddings, and it's more trendy now, you have long cocktails, like 2 hours. So you have plenty of time to do a lot of stuff. And then, when I go to where the reception is going to be. Mm-hmm. And then I ask, please put all the lights, and where is this is gonna happen, what is gonna happen when they come in, and I analyze the light, and then I start putting my flashes and my clamps and everything, and I test everything. So a couple of years ago, I was obsessed to capture everything. Mm-hmm. I want to capture everybody, so I started using a lot of flashes. I can use like maybe 5 flashes. At a reception, because I want to focus on everybody. I want to show everybody that was there. So I try to fix my lights in a way that they are additional, and they support each other, and then I can light up everything. So it depends on where the wedding is taking place, and it depends on how the ceiling is looking and everything. But I want to be faithful to the ambience. It's not like, okay, I'm going to put a flash and boom, everything is white. No. Yeah. I have to respect the ambience of the place, because that's part of the story as well. So my flashes are always, the thought is it's to be a field light more than a main light. Okay. Then it would be obviously the entrance or the reception. Mm-hmm. And then depending on the culture, during the reception, you will have things happening, or speeches happening, or shows happening, or it depends on the type of wedding, or people talking to each other, or like when people are eating, I prefer not to make pictures of them, but coffee time, and this is where they laugh, or all these connections. And then there's like a dead time between coffee and first dance. So in this moment, I go to the first dance, where it's going to be, and I start analyzing. So first thing I do, okay, a DJ is here. Normally, where does people stand? Where are the couple going to dance? I set up my flashes for this. And then, super important, I talk to the bride and the groom, and I ask them, where are you going to dance? Are you going to dance here? And most of the time, they're like, oh, we have no idea. Yes, expert here, you dance here. Like, where I set up my lights. Because if you don't do that, you leave it to the gods, and maybe they just start dancing in a corner because they are shy and they have never done this. And they actually love that you tell them where to dance. Yeah. So, and then it's a crazy party. I really love to photograph parties. It's one of my biggest passions. And I think it's like, I'm not a big party person. If I have a weekend free, I would not go on a discotheque or partying. But if I'm at a wedding, I dance and I photograph at the same time. So nice. I'm part of the party, and I have so much fun doing this. And if I don't have my camera, it's like, okay, I go.
Yeah. You mentioned something that I, being a dumb video guy, felt was not right in the way that I thought about flash. You said that you balance flash with the ambient light, because obviously the ambience of a room is important. Whereas in my head, when I see a flash, I'm like, boom, it's got to be a boom, a flash of light, and that's wherever you put it.
Always just kills the ambience.
It always just kills the ambience in my mind. So
yes, that's the naked flash.
Yeah. So how do you make it not do that?
It's all about depending on what you want to tell, and it's all about the modifiers that you use. Okay. I love the grids. Grids are amazing. Grids give you cinematic light. Like there's someone sitting, if they're doing the speech, so you put the grid and you just light them, and then you shoot from the other side, and there's this cinematic light, and it's just like if it was a snoot continuous light. It's exactly the same. Light behaves exactly the same. The difference is that the flash, you just get to see it like this, and continuous light, you see it all the time. That's the only difference.
Okay. Yeah. And are you moving flashes throughout a speech, or like are you going up to them and being like, I need more of this, like, and just moving it around, or?
Oh yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I'm like flashes, and then something is happening there, and then you like move it around, and I move around.
So say you had the reception and it was in a square room. Okay. Would you just, with your 5 flashes, would you just place one flash in the corner of each room and then have one on you?
It wouldn't be like that. It would be, maybe there would be one there. So a square, then for sure the 2 main flashes would be seeking each other in the opposite corners.
Yeah. Okay.
Because that way I can move around and I can take pictures from one side or another and have my same quality light, like one side light and one backlight. I love backlight. And then I will always have my assistant with a monopod with a little 80-100 round head and just soft light to point where I want the main attention to be.
Okay.
Then if it's more rectangular room, then this is where more flashes come to play around. So because I need to light up more the room, but it all depends on the room. Yes. And how is the ambience light of that room? There are some rooms that are more darker. So then I would use more grids. If the ambience light, it's more general, then I would use more like I call it the boob, but it's not the boob, it's the sphere.
The sphere. Okay.
It looks like silicone boobs. So.
All right. Okay. Like a what was that one? A Gary Fong?
Yeah.
Is that the name? Is that a brand name? Is that like
no? It's
Hoover for vacuum?
Magmod. It's Magsphere, but like. And everybody calls them the boob. So you're just like, give me that with the assistant. You put the boob. Actually, once the father of the bride said, can I make a question? I was like, yes, of course. And he was like, why do you have a condom in your flash?
What?
And I was like, oh my God, I call them boobs, but condoms could do also.
Everyone's going to be safe, I suppose.
Yeah, I hope so.
So speaking of like an outdoor ceremony with tricky lighting, are you putting flashes up for that?
Oh, yeah.
You talked about the situation with the bride in harsh light and the groom in shadow.
Yeah.
Is that how you would tackle a difficult situation like that?
Always put a D200 and the Mag Beam. You know, Mag Beam, it's a magnifier. I'm the only person who uses it like that because you can actually you can use it to focus light, but I use it compressed. I don't open it, and it actually gives you almost double. It's 1.5, almost double of the light. So that way I can power it. And then because I use it at least 4 meters, between 4 to 6 meters away, it's not that harsh, and it's just going to be a fill up light. And I don't use it all the time, but no matter what, if there's outdoor ceremony, there's a flash somewhere in a clamp or in a tripod, and I can use it or not use it. But I don't want to find myself in the position that I'm shooting and I'm thinking, oh my God, my flashes are in the car, or my flashes are not here. That cannot happen. God. If I need them, I just switch on my flash and that's it. I use it. And if I don't need it, it's just there. It's okay.
Cool. Yeah. Do you work with video teams much?
Yes. Yeah. So video teams, I know flashes, it's hard. So sometimes, the lights that I use, the 80-200, it has continuous light as well. It's not super wow, big light, but it's enough with the video cameras that we have now. So when I work with videographers, I ask them, do you want me to put this continuous light? And it will help you. And they were like, oh, yes, amazing. So then we all both have the same direction of light, meaning we are going to try to shoot mostly from the same part. And because if they're with a little LED, I'm going to ruin their video and they're going to ruin my pictures. So, and if it's like that, okay, you just do turns. I respect a lot other people's work. So shooting is like dancing for me. So you would just like, I'm not going to stay all the time in your face because there's more people working, I'm used to work in big weddings where, I don't know, maybe there's other 20 people shooting. So you have to think about the global and what it's more important is the story for the bride and the groom. It's not your ego. It's not I'm the artist and I am. No, it's not that. So you need to learn to just like come and go like the sea, so you come, you approach and then you go back and then you can see things with perspective as well.
Very cool. All right. Yeah. You mentioned when, like earlier in the podcast, when you would watch films and series, that you'd learn lighting techniques and try and replicate them. Do you have any anecdotes about when you've tried something and it paid off like really well, and then also vice versa?
Oh. Wow, it's a hard question, but I think wow, played well. So, for example, I like one series is Flesh and Bones. It was not a super famous series, but I love the starting of the series always. Like how do you call it? Like the real, like at the beginning.
The intro?
Sorry?
Like the title credits or intro?
Yes, exactly. The intro. This is where the most creative things happen. And there was this scene where there's a dancer with red and she was lighted from the sides. And I just loved that image. And I tried to emulate it so many times. And it's just a beautiful creative light. But I don't know if there's like a specific anecdote that would be funny. I don't think so. I don't know.
It doesn't have to be funny. Just anything that you tried and it worked, or something you tried and you were thinking maybe I won't do that in future.
Oof, I don't know. I've tried so many things, and it depends on the moment and also on the trends. Now I'm using the flash also in a different way. I now also have like a small flash on the side with a soft box, it's not a soft box, it's the Mac Bounce. So it's really small, but it gives a really soft light. And because I don't have it on top of the camera, I have it on the side. It has direction. So I actually used a video tool for the camera to put the flash on it. Yeah. So
cool. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the thing I'm doing lately and I'm using also like my monopod with my assistant. But at some point there was a wedding where it was so crowded and my assistant couldn't get there. And I was like, oh my God, this cannot happen. And then I came up with this idea. And then, like it depends. It evolves and it depends also on the mood of the day and the lighting of the place. There's not a magical recipe.
Yeah. I was actually just thinking of that earlier when you were talking, because if you've set up your flashes for, say, speeches, and I know you say you're trying to sort of cover the whole room and make sure and capture everything now, but I'm assuming there was times in your career where you've maybe set up your flashes and then something
else happened.
Unexpected's happened, and to get the best composition and framing, you've not had the right lighting. So how did you balance that?
So you always have two cameras, and then and sometimes I have one camera. I know it's my flash camera, and then my other camera would be like my available light camera. And now I have like my camera with my flash on the side, so that's my safe spot. So it doesn't matter wherever I am, I have my light, There's always, since the beginning of the day, my monopod, I call him Gandalf. Okay. So I have my monopod with my little flash, and he's just 2-3 steps away in a corner, just laying down on the floor.
Yeah.
And if I need it, it's just like, Gandalf, boom, you take it. And even I can take it myself. So I would put him on my hip. And, and it's funny. It makes a conversation. People are like, what is that? And I say, I introduce you to Gandalf. And then people laugh, and then you can, you can have a conversation. Then you are interacting, and then you can have pictures. And yeah.
That's very cool. Is that one of your favorite techniques to employ Gandalf?
Yeah. And actually, once I was alone. I didn't have an assistant, so I put Gandalf my photo bag. It's a travel bag, so it has 4 wheels. So I just put Gandalf on the side, and my assistant was my photo bag with Gandalf.
Yeah.
It's funny, and people look at me like weird, like, this photographer, she's crazy.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say something mad like, when I'm alone, I prop Gandalf up and I just chat to him during mealtime or something.
No,
we've spoken to.
I do say that my lover is the Mac Beam, because it's so underestimated. And actually, I had a podcast with MacMod, and he was like, "Oh my God, you're the only person I know that uses the MacBeam like this." And I say, "Yes, because it's such a powerful tool, but everybody uses it in a different way, because you can put filters and you can make light with the lines, and it's amazing. Sometimes I can use it like that, but I use it to overpower my flash." And if you use it in the right distance, it's an amazing field light.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm getting this feeling that I have totally underestimated flash.
Yes.
And I feel many people actually do. And it's okay for me, because I'm a video person. But if you're a photographer out there and you've underestimated flash, maybe you're letting yourself down. Who knows?
Yeah. And if the good thing is that if you know your tools, you can use them when you need them. And I can decide, I shoot a lot with natural light, with ambience light. I shoot a lot. I'm not shooting flash. I know photographers, I have friends that they use flash from the beginning of the day till the end in every single shot. Amazing. But that's not me. But I use it a lot. But if I use it, it's because I need it. I can see that I need it, So it's, if you say I'm more a natural light photographer, yes. But if I need my flash, I take it. It's not because I'm afraid of it. So I think we all need to know we have these amazing tools for us available at our hand, and just use them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Obviously, you travel about for weddings, and you've talked about how the kit changes whenever you go somewhere. What's been the biggest challenge when shooting abroad, say? Especially, like, it just sounds to me like you have so much equipment. Is that the case? And how do you overcome that challenge to pack less but still create what you need to create?
Yeah. So I will always fly. So I've been changing, because I told you my photo bag is 4 wheels. So this is what I've been using for the last 8 years. But now I have discovered that if I take, like the inner pocket of the bag, you can take it out to clean the bag. And then I was like, oh, this fits in my 4-wheel spinner.
Oh.
And so then I put my equipment there, and then I still have half of my bag for something else. The only thing with this, I have to be a good actress in the plane, because my bag is so heavy, and I have to look like it's a light bag, so la 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 la, and then so I have to put it be able to put it up. I have to do it in different steps, so it would be on top of the chair, on the hand of the chair, then on the neck of the chair, and then it's like, okay, 1, 2, 3, up.
For any
And sometimes somebody comes and like, can I help you? And you're like, okay. And then they're like, oh my God, you have a dead body in there or what?
For anyone who has shot a destination wedding, you will understand this feeling.
Yeah.
Even like when you go to check in and you're wearing your bag, you're like, I gotta make this look lighter. So you take one strap off and you're like one-arming it like it's nothing, but it weighs a fucking ton. Like, don't weigh my bag.
Yeah, and then I go with the backpack. So both are like heavy like hell, because it happened once to me that there was a flight delayed. I almost didn't make it. I made it. I run like hell, but part of my equipment and my clothes didn't get there. So I had to go buy like super quick something. So I always bring like basic clothes with me, just in case, like at least you can change your underwear. So that would be like traveling destination photographer traveling tips.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm Ashley from With Jack. I'm one of the sponsors of the Perspective podcast. With Jack helps to keep photographers in business by supporting them financially and legally if they have problems with a client or they make a mistake in their work. We've all had that fear of our CF card or our hard drive failing and losing important photos. You can find out more at withjack.co.uk. Head over there and find out how we can help you be a confident creative.
We're talking about like how you shoot and your photography and stuff, but what's your client relationship like before the wedding? Like, how do you build up the rapport with them and get to know them?
Yeah. Okay. So it is really important for me. I ask a lot of questions. I have meetings before the wedding. I try to ask them also separately. And one of the most important things for me is to know what are their words. So I try to make them imagine how they vision their wedding and what words come to their mind. So during the day, I will have those words in my head, because not everyone values the same things. And some people are more like, oh, I love connection and I want to have fun with my friends. And some people are more about having an elegant or having a traditional, like it depends. So obviously I'm going to shoot in my style, but I'm going to have their words inside of my head. And I also ask about the relationships, how they, like, do the parents speak to each other? Are they together? Or maybe it was her aunt that took care of her, or, to know who are the BVVIP. Everybody is important, but there's some people that are a bit more important. Yeah. So I would ask them to give me pictures of these people so that I can make sure that I open my phone, I have my PDF and I have the pictures and I'm like, who's this person? And then you're like, to a guest, can you tell me who this person? Because some people don't look the same in the Facebook picture than in reality. Yep. So I want to make sure of that. And then for me, it's really important the way I deliver. I don't send any links. It's not my thing. I used to do that like maybe 12 years ago, and I hated it every single moment of that, because you send the link and you're just like dying inside. Like they don't say anything, and no. So I set up a video meeting. And if they are not together until 2 weeks from now, okay, it has to be both of them. It has to be video meeting. We need 1 hour of time. We need a bottle of wine, and we talk, and then we watch the slideshow together with the sound, with all this. And I I watch their faces and I see them, and for me, it's so important because you are delivering part of the story.
Yeah.
So that would be like a way I do it. It's really important. I give a lot to my clients, so that's why I don't shoot a lot of quantity of weddings, because I do give a lot of time to each couple.
That's the first time I've heard that idea.
Oh,
It's quite cool. A kind of extra personal touch.
I have had photo sessions with photographers, and I feel so impressed when they just send me a link. It's so unpersonal.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, here's your link. Boom, one more, done, next. You know, it's for me, I cannot work like that. They're my babies. It's just like I put so much love in the pictures and in the slideshow. I want to deliver it in person. It's tricky because you're going to see their reactions.
Yeah.
But most of the time, 100% of the time, they're so happy to see it. You know, we are more in our heads because we have this photographer's professional view, and we are so harsh with our own work. And we're like, no, the lines are not perfect and it's not clean enough and blah, blah, blah. What people care about is their loved ones. That's the only important thing. And when it's your pictures, when somebody else takes your pictures, I can get like photographer view, like, the composition is not really well. But actually, if it's a picture of me, of my son, I don't care about the lines. I only care that we see to each other, that we look, that I can see his love, that you can see the love that I have for him. That's all I care about. So sometimes we have to remember that. And I am really techie, and I tried the cleaning and the lines. It is really important for me, but I have to remind myself that's not the most important thing. It's a plus. It's an ingredient that helps, that enhances the picture, but it's not the goal.
Yeah.
The goal is the emotion.
I do see a lot of photographers who they do send out the link, and they do have that panic about, oh, I haven't heard back from them. Oh. And then I just feel like because this is the first time I'm hearing this idea. Like, obviously, we've had John Dolan and stuff on the podcast, and him talking about how he hand delivers the product to his couples, and then he has a meal and stuff. But like, I just kind of put it, I kind of put it in the back of my mind saying, well, I can't really justify traveling to the States to hand over my film to my clients. I don't have the time or the money to do that. So I just kind of didn't think about any other way of doing it. But your way of, you're still in the digital domain, you're still both setting time together, handing over your product, I think is a brilliant way of bridging that gap. And I think, how many other photographers are like me and just haven't thought about elevating that step without thinking,
experience,
without having to like write it off like I did because I can't get to whatever, you know?
Yeah.
That's a great middle step. And I think would be a benefit to any client, especially to any photographers who have that panic when they send out their thing.
I got rid of that panic. Totally. And I did it. I think I started doing it more than eight years ago, or even a bit more. I don't know, because I hated that sensation. And now it's even worse because people are so overloaded with information and messages and different social medias. They forget about you. They forget to send, oh my God, we love the pictures. And then you're suffering home. And then you were like, oh, hello. Did you like, oh, we love them. And you were like, you could have said something. But I think it's all about the importance that you give to your work and the respect that you give to your own work. And this is what I explain to them when they tell me, oh, no, he's traveling, so I'm just alone. And I say, no, I'm sorry. So I will deliver. I know you want to see them, but I need you both together because it's important. It's an important moment that you will remember always, the moment that you received your pictures. It was a nice moment. At some point, long time ago, I was even gifting the couple a bottle of champagne
Nice.
on the wedding day.
Uh-huh.
Just for that moment. But afterwards, with all the traveling, it was just like, okay, no, everybody has their own favorite wine. So I ask them, I tell them, when we're going to deliver, you're going to buy your favorite wine. You're going to have like the nice ambience. We're going to switch off the lights. We're going to switch off the phones. We're going to have a drink. We talk, and then we're going to watch the video together.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, wow. And it makes the all difference. It has never happened to me that someone would say like, oh my God, I don't like the pictures. It has never happened.
Yeah.
When you've been doing it, has there ever been any photographs that you've been surprised that those are the ones that invoke emotion? Like, because there's sort of almost like some market research there, like you're getting instant feedback on what images they like.
Yes, because I put on my screen, I see the slideshow and I see them, and then you can see which pictures are like giving them emotions, and you're like, oh, so that's another tip. You're taking out a lot of tips from me, because then afterwards I show them the album, and I know which pictures have shocked them most. So I will tell the story behind those pictures, if there's a story to tell, you know? And so also that way you link the emotion to the album spread and to the importance of the album, and that the story, because actually all the stories that we know about our childhood, most of them are related to a picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually a good point.
And you can do that with the video too, you know?
Yeah, I was thinking like how effective would it be as a video? Because obviously,
but at least like with the reel, with the short version, you can do it.
Yeah.
Because then the full gallery, I don't look at the full gallery with them. It's just nonsense.
Yeah.
It's just the slideshow. It's 3 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, okay. That has definitely given me food for thought.
So if you do it, you have to write to me and say, "Oh my God, Rocio, I delivered like this," and you have to tell me how did you felt and did you feel the difference?
Yeah,
because I'm 100% sure there's a big difference.
Yeah,
on the way you deliver.
If anyone out there is listening to this and thinking, "Oh my God, yes, I kind of want to try this," we want to hear if you try it and what your feedback is, and get in contact, because
and nowadays it's so easy. Everybody after COVID, everybody's so used to video calls.
Yeah, that's true.
When I was doing it before COVID, I was doing video calls even for the first meeting, and some couples were like, one couple, there was this couple, they came with a wedding planner, and I always say, we need to have a video meeting. And the bride told me afterwards, the first thought she had was like, oh my God, does she need to see if we're beautiful? Like, are we going to be beautiful enough for her? Or what is it about? And then when we had the meeting, and it was all about connection. And then when they saw me at the wedding, and then she told me, oh my God, and now I understand why you did it. And now I understand. I need to kind of feel I can fall in love with them. They could be my friends. I have to care enough for them so that I can put myself in their skin and feel who's important for them and what's important for them. So at least I have to try to connect with them in that level so that I can give them the best of me.
Yeah. And do you continue that relationship through social media, like in the build up to their wedding? Are you following them and commenting? Yeah.
Some clients have become friends.
Yeah.
Some clients know. Sometimes you get to see them maybe in another wedding, and you're like, oh wow, you're so happy to see them again. But I do have a lot of friends that were clients before.
Yeah. I cannot emphasize this enough. Like, the connections that you make prior to a wedding make such a huge difference.
Oh yeah.
And I found not just with the couple, but with their family and friends. Like, a recent wedding that we went to, we stayed the night before at this venue, and I was absolutely adamant. And Greg was a little bit nervous about it, so he was like, "I want to take a video camera," and I was like, "No, we cannot do that. We're not paid to work. We're not paid to work right now." Blah 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 blah. But it wasn't the pay that I wanted to focus on. I just told that as an excuse to Greg, but it was more I want to force both of us to get out of our comfort zone, and actually be around these people who we don't know yet. And so, because I have the tendency of just having a camera on me and hiding behind it sometimes. Same with Greg. So by removing the camera gear, we ended up drinking with them, talking to little groups of people. We ended up playing a very competitive game of, can't remember what it's called. Frida, that's right. And it was just like, I don't know, friendships formed in battle, I suppose, playing this game. And the next day, what a difference. What a difference. Yeah. Couldn't believe it. People were like high-fiving us, and when we brought out our cameras, they would actually have they weren't like, oh, they engaged.
Yes, because they trust you now.
Yeah, exactly.
It depends. I think it depends on your personality, you know. There's some people, like, as you said, hide behind the camera, or they want to be invisible.
Yeah.
I don't want to be invisible. I'm not invisible.
No.
I'm loud. I'm smiley. I get in the room. I'm not invisible.
Uh-huh.
So most of the times it is for me, the way I do, it's better to just have a little conversation and make people comfortable, and you smile to them and you say, hello, good morning. And maybe their name, and because it's the mom. So I have to know the name of the mom and approach her as who she is, and it's as important as she is. And then people like, oh, she cares. And then you can do whatever you want, like afterwards, I'm just like with the camera here or under the table, or, like ninja hiding. But they allow you to do those things because you broke the ice. Yeah. So for me, the approach, it's like, I'm always like friendly, because it's better to invest those little moments, because it makes the all difference.
Yeah.
It's just why also I dance on the dance floor. Because if you don't dance, people are like, you're just like invading. But if you're dancing and you're in the same mood as them, you're like, oh my God. And they're always like, are you friends with the couple? And no, but I'm enjoying as well with you. And so you're in their team. Mm-hmm. You're not there to take sneaky pictures and show how awfully they're drunk. No, it's just about having fun,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Man, I feel like you're giving all the good tips away today.
Oh my God, yes, God. I'm going to talk about on Friday.
Let's talk about any projects that you've got coming up. Obviously, we know you're ambassadors for certain equipment. Do you have any goals that you've set for yourself? Obviously, I know you're rebranding.
Yes.
Are you trying to achieve something? Like, what's the future like? What's happening here?
Wow, what's happening here? So, as I said, I'm rebranding. I'm relaunching it. So I'm working on the website, and I did a new selection of my work. So I went through all the work, and it's always really interesting to do this exercise, because it gives you a sense of your evolution and who you are right now. And the pictures that I'm selecting now are not the same pictures that I selected back in the past.
Interesting.
And also I selected a lot of pictures thinking in vertical format, because sorry, that's a reality. So,
no!
and I know, but actually it is so crazy, because I shot a wedding in January in India. Okay. And we were like 25 people in the different teams. And it's a different culture. There's so many different things happening. So I have the picture, like the documentary picture that tells the whole thing, but I was there for the creative moments, but nice moments. That's why they paid me to go there. So I cannot deliver all my pictures horizontal and showing everything that's around the perfect thing. That is for me. And I had to shoot like 70-80% of the pictures in vertical. And I was like the photographer that was like, no way, I never take one vertical picture. And I have been trying so hard these last years to shoot vertical. And suddenly I found myself shooting in vertical, composing in vertical, finding out that some pictures are way much better in vertical. So I think that's a new thing that is happening inside of my brain. And actually, right now, like today, I was talking with my album with DreamBooks Pro, you know, and I have a person inside that she's the one that deals with me, you know. So we had like this long meeting, and because I'm planning to do my next album for the next year, what do I want, you know? And I'm just like tired of the wedding album. And actually my new album is going to be in vertical. So it's just like, oh yes, I know. And I'm so excited about it. I'm just like, oh my God, I have changed, you know?
That is so cool.
Yeah.
I remember, well, who are we speaking to? What photographer was it that was talking about their percentages and very much the same, like they used to shoot in all landscape, and then, you know, over time with him doing
more and
like
more vertical,
social media and shooting bits and bobs for content creation, he has now developed an eye for vertical, and now like he was saying that 90% of his work is now vertical. Which, by the way, if you've never thought about shooting vertical, great. It's also very good for blogs. So, you know,
it's a different way of composition.
Yes. And I get very jealous of photographers when they have the latitude to do both, because sometimes, man, there's a shot and I can see it a mile away, and the moment happens, I'm like, oh, I really wish I could rotate my camera and capture this.
I have a tip for video.
Oh, give me a tip. Yes. Yes, give me all the tips.
Do I have it here? Yes, I have it here. Okay. So what I do when I'm shooting video, because I know I shoot video horizontal, but most of the times my video is going to be repurposed for social media.
Yep.
And it's not the same. So what I do, I use washi tape.
Okay.
You know what?
Yeah.
Okay. So you take a picture in vertical. Okay. Then you play it in your camera, and then you put the washi tape and mark. Wait, like this. You mark where the picture got. You know. And I use this light washi tape because then you can see through the washi tape. And then when I have the screen, I at least I have visually, I know what do I have to compose for. So when that happens, like, oh my God, this is perfect for social media, or this has to be in vertical too, I just compose with that in mind.
That is such an old, by the way, this is such an old school tip, because back in the day when you'd have video, it always used to be in the wider aspect ratio. There was never 16:9. And so you would have to tape the bottom. Tapes across so you knew roughly the aspect ratio. Obviously then cameras came and they got better, and then you have the overlay lines. But like in university, that was me with the tape. But I've never thought about doing it for the vertical. So
I had forgotten, but of course my idea came from there, because I started in cinema and we were doing that, but I had forgotten. But now when I'm doing videos and I'm like, it's for social media, but we also want it for the web. And you're like, oh God. I was like, oh, washi tape. Boom. And it helps. It helps a lot.
So you're shooting more vertical. You're also using your flash sort of off to the side of the camera as well. Are you trying to stay like on top of what changes are happening in the industry? Do you try and sort of stay on hot topics?
Okay, so it's part and part. It's not like I don't want to be like the trendy photographer.
Yeah.
I've been here for 25 years and I want to be here for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I have been long enough to know that there are some trends that are just that, trends. You know, like I feel so bad, but I did the black and white picture with the red roses.
You did spot color. Oh no.
Oh no. Oh no. Shame on me, you know. But thanks to that, I can see that there's some trends that are not going to last.
Yeah.
Okay. But that being said, you cannot, like, for me, I cannot allow myself to be in the comfort zone and say, this is what I do and this is how I do it and that's it. No, life changes, life evolves. You change, you evolve. And the way I see light right now, it has nothing to do with the way I saw light 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Like 7 years ago, I remember I was so obsessed with the rim of light. So obsessed. And I was looking for it everywhere. Like even in a lighted room, I would find the beam of light and just have like this image, just like you see a little bit. But then I was praying all day long, like a religion, so that they look exactly where I wanted. And now I like different things. I want people to look beautiful. I want light everywhere. I want this light, you know, it's a main light on the side, but it's soft. And then we have these shadows here and I want that. So now I light for that. And that's why now I use my flash on the side. So it's not only the trend, it's also about your taste.
Yeah,
yes.
definitely.
But at the end, your taste, it's tinted with the trend because that's what you see the most. And then it's, you know, like it's a dance.
Yeah.
Everything in life is a dance.
Yeah. How about we do show and tell just now, and we see how that dance plays out in some of the images that I've selected for you. Now, again, this is going to be quite a surprise for me because I can't remember what images I selected for you. Now, can you see this? Can you see the TV?
Okay. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So, I'll talk a little bit about why I picked this image.
Okay. Yes.
To talk about. And then you can tell me the backstory if you can remember the backstory.
Yeah.
Which I am very surprised. A lot of people are remembering these images very well. So kudos to all you guests out there who have actually been able to tell me. So I like this image because it is full of what is it seems quite chaotic, but it's essentially the same image from what I'm assuming a mirror or something along the lines. And I just like the fact that it's almost like a I can't remember the artist, but like a pop art type vibe. It has that kind of like organic, you've just found this image and you've just captured it type moment. Which is, I mean, the moment is, you know, it's nothing too crazy. It's the bride, I'm assuming the bride getting her makeup on. It's,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And you've used that time to be experimental.
Yeah.
Exactly what I said.
So, yeah, exactly. So, can you remember this wedding, this bride, and your mindset? Tell us all the behind the scenes.
So this wedding was in a small town in the really deep Spain. Mm-hmm. So this house, it's like the grandmother's house and it's full of old furniture, you know. Okay. And the door, I took the picture from outside the room, and it's like these wooden doors that with little windows so that you can see through the door. And these windows have like edges. Yep. So I'm shooting just like with this edge. So that is giving the prism. And actually this picture originally, it's horizontal.
Yeah.
But it works better in vertical.
Yeah, it totally does. I would love to see the horizontal version. Was it just like black on either side Can you remember?
Probably. I don't actually, I cut it like not long time ago, but I don't remember because it works so well in vertical that it's just like makes sense.
It really does. Like I can't remember where I pulled this from. Maybe your Instagram. I can't remember, but it just strike me as the perfect framing. But yeah, I really like
I love finding those mirrors with this sort of edge on them, or the windows, and just that's where you can find me on a morning.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, this might sound absolutely bonkers to people, but like a stamp, like a British stamp with the Queen's face, like that perfect side-on silhouette. I just feel like this is like, it's so crisp in its detail of a woman's face that it's very appealing to me. And I'm not sure if that's because I'm thinking of like a British stamp or not, but I don't know, just the fact that it's so clearly a bride's head, I really enjoy. Anyway, that was a bit random. Next image. Yes. So sorry. The reason I picked this is because I've seen many other photographers trying to and doing the whole top-down, either bride walking down the aisle or the car leaving type shot. And I've always liked it, but I've never seen it being incorporated from this perspective where you've seen a freaking giant set of hands and it's like the perspective of the person looking. It's very voyeuristic, and I'm not sure who this person is. Maybe the owner
groom.
of the car, or it's the groom.
Yeah,
that's even better. Whose hands are these?
So the story behind this wedding, I'm shooting for another photographer. Okay. So for a friend. They mistakenly took 2 weddings the same weekend. So I'm shooting for him. It's a gay couple. And one of the main things is that you cannot use their pictures. So I'm shooting this as a favor to my friend. I go in the south of Spain, and this is an amazing couple. Amazing things happened during the whole day of this wedding. And I was just so frustrated. And then we are in the terrace, and I was with the couple, the 2 guys were with me, and they were waiting for the car. So here I have my 50 millimeters. And then one of them was like, oh, look, the car is coming. So I just and he was just putting his hands there, and I just took my camera and I just kind of tried to shoot that. And this picture, I was able to use it because you cannot recognize a car. You cannot recognize the hands. You cannot recognize anybody. So I could use that picture.
Yeah, it's great. Plus, I like the fact that it's like lighter tones up here and then darker tones up here. The image is very well balanced.
Nice.
So not
Thank
only
you.
do you have the perspective of obviously the groom's hands, which is a nice point of view, the fact that is one of the grooms. It's just a really nice, well composed image. I love it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh God, I freaking love this image.
Oh, you should see the video shot of this. It's amazing.
Yeah. So I still can't figure this out, if I'm honest. And this is why I love it so much. At first, I thought it was a detail of some kind of flower. And then I saw the arms. And if you can't see this, audio listeners, please go to YouTube and check it out. But there's this wonderful dress, and I still can't figure out your perspective. It feels like you're lower down.
Yes.
And that's like obviously the groom, or could it be the father? I'm going to say
the bride. Yeah.
Anyway, tell me more, because I really can't, there's not much here, and that's why I love it so much.
Thank you. So this is the trashed address, the session the day after the wedding.
Oh, okay, cool.
So we went to the beach. There was these huge rocks, and it was so windy. It was super windy, and I was so they were on top of the rock, and I was under, and the dress was flying everywhere, and I was using because I back then I was starting shooting video,
Mm-hmm.
and I was using the polarizer. So I could polarize out like the sky. So that's why it looks so dark. And the sun was really harsh.
Yeah.
And there was so much wind. I tell you, the video shot of this is just like, it's poetic. Because you see So I shot video and I shot the picture. So I was just like, just put your hands out and just caress her hand. That's what I said. And I really love this picture too. It was a really beautiful trash address session.
I looked at that and just assumed it was you playing on the dance floor. Like on first glance, it was like it's part of a dance and there's hands up there.
I mean, I too thought it was part of a dance.
That's cool.
No.
And your choice of black and white, so good. So good.
Thank you.
So
I've been working on my black and white for so long.
There's more black and white.
There's more black and white.
Actually, I'm working on a Imaginary.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have I'm working on preset for black and white for raw, because so many people ask about it, and with the grain, with the it's really, I've been working so long on my black and white.
When can people check that out?
I think the idea is to launch it for Thrive. That's the plan, but I will try.
Yeah. Oh, very exciting. So this image, I'm a sucker for black and white and odd shapes as the kind of inspiration for the last image that I chose. Negative space is something that I love in most types of media, whether it be soundscapes or pop art or art or anything like that. And this just struck me. The first thing I noticed, obviously, the lovely repeating shapes here. Obviously, on the big screen, I can see smaller details, like maybe there's a speaker in the ceiling or a camera here, a line that's coming down. Like there's a gradient which I really love, and right here, perfectly framed next to this series of shapes is the couple backlit, and everyone knows I'm a sucker for backlighting.
Okay.
And it's just it's a very very simple moment. Nothing overly dramatic is happening, but I love it. It's calming.
Thank you.
Actually.
Yeah. So this moment, it's really funny because this is like the moment before they get in the reception. So everybody is sitting down and the mom is in the bathroom. And so we have to wait until the mom comes back. So we are in that window, like 2 minutes. And so they're outside of the reception. And then I see there's these big lights in the sky. And I'm like, okay, let's put the back flash because we are ready to get in with the flash, with the monopod. So I just like, okay, just light them from behind. I go lower. I'm going to use these circles. And I tell him, just kiss her, but touch her with one finger. And then that's it. And it just takes 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. Great.
Yeah. I think that might be
was that the last one? I think it might have been. Surely it didn't go that many.
That was it.
Oh, thank goodness. I tried to keep it to 3, but I'm not very good. I'm not doing very well.
Thank you. It's really nice what you chose. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Oh, good.
So Thrive Talk is about Flash.
Yeah.
Can people expect a lot of play with Flash in your shoot sessions?
Yeah, so I would do my best because actually my Flash workshop, it's 3 days and a half. So 2 hours, it's nothing,
Damn.
But I would do my best. Like in the general talk, I would try to give at least the key information that would make it easier. It's just at least to approach, to lose the fear, to understand like the basic for dummies. Like this is super basic, but it's not obvious,
Yeah.
And then on the second day that we have the 2 hours, what I'm going to try to do is have some scenes of series or movies, and people will choose, and we will recreate that so that we can see how we can recreate a movie scene or something visually that we like, how we can do it. That's
cool.
That's my idea.
Yeah.
That is a cool fucking idea. I would.
Yeah.
I'm so disappointed. I can't come.
Oh no!
I know. They're very disappointing. But nevertheless, people buy your tickets. That sounds amazing. We've spoken to 2 of the Thrive guests so far, and you've both had very, very interesting ideas for your sessions. I feel like people are going to be spending a lot of money.
The thing is that you only have 2 hours, and you want to give the best, but 2 hours is so short. So you have to be like really thoughtful. Like, how can I give the most? Like concentrate the most, like in just that amount of time. So that's why I thought that could be a nice exercise. And because it's also an exercise of creativity, an exercise of changing the way, you're going to change the way you're going to see movies and watch movies and watch art. But it's interesting because then it's like a new world of opportunities opens in front of you, because then you can start watching everything like that. And you're like, how would I do this? And everything. Yeah.
I remember being in university, and very similar to visuals is the sound. And when you start dissecting like Foley sound and how sound design happens and what they happen with, it is absolutely fascinating. And it will change the way that you listen.
Or you hear the Wilhelm scream in every film. You can't unhear it.
You're like, oh my God, you see how they put the sound, and you can hear the sea, and there's a bird. But normal people don't even notice those things.
Yeah. But it's so bizarre because I feel like I've been watching movies like that now my entire life, that it's just second nature to be like, oh, that.
Yeah.
It's
and
like
even though in real life, when you're with people, like I start now, since I do video and you do all these sounds, now I can, that's why I ask you about the fan. Because I'm listening to it, and when I'm with people, and I also link it with the way you feel. Like sometimes, there's some moments that you're like, wow, this is a beautiful moment. And then I start dissecting the moment. So what is it about this moment that I like the most? Okay, so this is the laugh, and there's this light, and we're sitting here, and the light is coming from here, and this is the way this person looks, and that's why they look so beautiful. And then like, oh my God, there's the birds, or this I can hear, because all those things build up a moment.
Greg, were we recording with Matt Kay when he was talking about the audio in the room? Or were we not? Was that off camera?
It might have been before we started.
We had a very similar conversation with Matt Kay who you'll meet about setting up audio. And so you were mentioning the fan. We were like, hey, Matt, can you use your headphones? Cause we're coming through. And then we were like slowly like telling him how his room sounded. And he's like, you can hear that?
Yes.
It's like, you can hear all the cars and the horns and the dog outside barking. And he's like, oh, sorry, guys. It's fine.
Yeah, but that's a videographer thing. Yes. Whenever you're going to start and I close my eyes and you're like, oh my God, the neighbor is doing something. And everybody's like, how can you hear that? Oh, yes, because otherwise afterwards in the computer, you're going to be like,
Yep. Here,
got my veins.
next time anyone's watching a TV show where there's like a broken bone, that's actually celery getting snapped. So listen back and see if you can hear that fruit sound. In fact, you know what? There's a lot of fruit being destroyed in the Foley industry. I might have an issue with this actually.
As long as they eat it, it's fine.
So I've seen what they do to this food. I do not think anyone's eating it. Anyway, one question I do like to ask: who do you shoot for? Do you shoot for yourself, or do you shoot for the client?
So, no. You shoot for
and there's no wrong answer.
Yeah, no. It's a personal answer. I used to shoot for myself. Then I used to shoot for my client, and now I have different different reasons to shoot.
Mhm.
The core of everything, it's the need of capturing high peaks of emotion. That's the core of it, okay?
Yeah.
To tell the story. But then there's different clients. There's the couple. There's like the wedding planner. There's my website. There's my Instagram. So what I do in my head, I take the broadest group, because inside of that group, everything else is going to fit in. So that would be like the album, probably would be the version of the final work that you're going to see, that it's the most complete. So I think of the album, because the album has to tell the story. And then to tell the story, then you have to shoot the details. You shoot the ambience, to shoot from far away, to shoot from close, to shoot from emotions, to shoot something beautiful, to shoot something creative. You know, it has everything inside of it. And I also, for example, I shoot even the vendors working. And I had just the last story about it. I shot a wedding, 5 days wedding, a beautiful experience wedding in Tuscany, and with a small group. And every day was like, the first day was just a family, the people that were getting married with their kids, then the close family, then the close friends, and then everybody else that came, you know, like it was by steps. And during all these days, we were shooting everything, you know, and we're having experiences, and with the old timers, and an opera thing, and, you know, like thousands of things. And I took pictures also of all the vendors, because I value their work as well. And I think it's important to show them also. And what happened was that the bride and the groom, when I delivered, I prepared two different albums. So I prepared the album for the wedding, and I prepared an album just of the details. So I told him, you know, you go to Italy and you buy albums of pictures of the details of Tuscany. So I thought, why not have an album with the details of your own wedding? So that was like a long shot for me. I said, like, let's try this to see what happens. And the groom said, like, oh, don't give me ideas. I'll come back to you. So that was like a Friday. Monday morning, I receive an email, and he says, I want 16 albums.
Wow.
And,
Holy shit.
Exactly. and then it was like, he gave me a list. Number one. So he divided the 5 days in different chapters with different importance. He wanted this 16 albums is picture. So he wanted an encyclopedia that it's in his house, 16 albums with my pictures, like 40 by 30, page by page. And the last album, the number 16, it's all the vendors.
Yeah, okay.
And I was like, so I had a video call, and I was like, Ben, like, are you sure? And he said, like, you know, the people that work there, they gave their best so that we could have a beautiful memory, and they deserve a space in our library and in our memories. I was like, wow. And of course, not everybody, and I hope that this happens again, but it makes you feel like everything is important. Everybody that is there is important. And I shoot also with that idea. So I shoot for many different reasons. At the end, the common is the human part, the emotions. This is the common with everything, but there's many different reasons to shoot. And once you know why are you shooting? What's your why? What do you want to tell? It is easier.
That's
lovely.
I had never thought that. Yeah. How many times do you just write off those little things? Just, it's not important. Damn.
And it takes nothing of time sometimes to do those. Yeah.
Do you ever run across anyone, like any person who's working who doesn't want to be photographed?
Oh yeah, of course. And I talk about it also before with the couple. Like, we all have this friend or this family, this person of the family that doesn't want to be in the pictures. So they have to know that.
Yeah.
And it happened once. There was twin sisters, the sisters of the bride. So you have one of the twins that is super active and she's everywhere. And she's the one that wants all the attention. And there's the other one that is a shy one. And when I delivered, the bride was like, one of my sisters is not in the pictures. And I was like, it's impossible. But they look exactly the same, like exactly the same. And the dress was kind of looking almost the same. And so actually she's one of my best friends now. Like we've been friends for forever. And so this is the only bride I have invited to my office, and we have gone through every single picture of the wedding looking for her sister. And we discovered that the sister sat down in the church in the last, like all the families in the first chairs, and she was sitting in the back. When we did the family picture, she didn't come to the family picture when she wasn't there. Like she's so shy, and she was like, yeah, it's normal. My sister always does that. So there's nothing you can do about it. You try your best, but some people really don't want to be photographed.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in wrapping up, we've almost come to the end. Do you have any book recommendations for our listeners?
Oh, wow. Oh my God.
Actually, she has a 16-book encyclopedia of these amazing details.
You too can buy that album.
You too can have yourself.
That's a good one. Oh my God. I wish you would have told me before, because I'm so bad with names, but there's so many books. Wow. Right now, the last book I have like on top of my shelf, I have 2 books. I'm looking at them. I'm going to bring them. But I mean, there's so many books, but these are the last ones I have. And it was because I was shooting in India. It was my first time in India, not the first time to shoot an Indian wedding, but in India, yes. So I have this book, Jaipur, and this book, it's a brand, Azuline. Oh my God, when you go to an Azuline store, just to go to that store, it's an experience. Yeah. And they have all these books of every single country and cities. And it's really interesting because it's not the typical, like the typical picture of tourism picture. It's really like old pictures. It's kind of, I found it really inspiring because I found it like artistic, and it tells a bit of the story of the place, and you have different things. So I love this.
Cool.
And then this is a book of one of a good friend, French photographer. He's amazing photographer, William Lambelet. And he's been shooting in India weddings for a long time, and he released his book. And I mean, he's an amazing photographer. And his pictures, like, they're so documentary, so well framed, so well lit, so well everything. I really enjoy going through this book. Yeah. William Lambelet. It's just, but he had the book only in the French version of his website. So I just told him like, what? He's like, the book is in French. And I'm like, it's a photo book. I mean,
fair enough. I always try to go online very quickly and try and find them on Amazon, but obviously I can't find that. However, the first book that you put up, you can get it on hardcover for £78. So there you go, if you're interested, listeners. Excellent. Cool. Yeah. Well, that brings us to the end. Rocio, where can people find you online?
So on Instagram, oh my God, I'm in the middle of the changing names. So I think, but if you put Rocio Vega, you would find me on Instagram, because I'm going to change it like really like in couple of weeks. So, but if you put Rocio Vega Momenticos, or you would find me on Instagram for sure. Yeah, my yellow picture smiling. That's me.
Okay, cool. And I mean, again, there's so many images of yours I could have picked to talk about. So, listeners, again, go and check out her portfolio. It's fantastic.
Thank you.
And maybe it'll inspire you with trying to test out some Flash. I know I'm one to test out some Flash, and I don't even do photos. People can find us at perspectivebycinemate.com. Our Instagram is at perspectivebycinemate. Thank you to With Jack for sponsoring this episode. Are you guys ready for London Thrive? Because you should be ready. It's a 2-day workshop of an all-star cast array of people. A conference held at the UK's first art hotel, nestled in the heart of North London on the 8th and 9th of October. Definitely get your tickets. And I mean, obviously, like I said, we've only spoken to 2 of the Thrive listeners so far. Their sessions have sounded incredibly fun and very intensely educational. I mean, So, buy your tickets for your sessions. You don't want to miss out. And if you have loved this conversation, you can hit subscribe on our YouTube at Perspective by Cinemate, or wherever you get your podcast. You can find us there. And we do hope to see you in the next one. However,
in the meantime,
enjoy your Thrive.